Hey guys, Enzo4 right here, back at another video. Today we are talking about basically the guy who has gotten me a lot of views the last couple videos. I'm talking about Kyler Murray today. We're doing a prospect breakdown on Kyler Murray, and I'm hoping to do at least 5 of these prospect breakdown videos before the NFL Combine. Today's actually Reese's Senior Bowl, so I'm gonna watch some of that game and maybe do some prospect breakdowns on guys like who's a good player, I think Montez Sweat or someone like that. Of that kind of caliber player, that could be like a fringe first round player. I think Sweat could be pretty easily a first round player, but if you've seen my mock draft, if you haven't, go check that out. By the way, so let's see right into this. By the way, Kyler Murray, very intriguing name in the NFL draft this year. He's going to be going to the Combine, obviously. Really haven't seen him a ton besides this year. Played a little bit of A&M when I think he was a freshman or a sophomore. So he played a little bit of football at A&M, mainly a baseball guy though, and at Oklahoma this year, quite frankly, just lit it up. Great stats this year. I don't know the exact stats off the top of my head, but I do know that he put up some great stats this year. Obviously, the Heisman Trophy winner. A lot of great things about him, right? I'm going to do this in a pro-cons kind of breakdown here. Hopefully this video is like under 10 minutes. I just want to give you guys my quick 2 cents about him. What round I think he'll go in. The guy I like, my pro comparison to him. Projected round, pro comparisons, pros, cons, that kind of thing. Maybe the team that I think could draft him. And, so let's get right into it. We got Kyler Murray. For his pros, I think he has a good enough arm, for sure. I think he has great deep ball touch. I think he has the clutch ability. I think all those things have shown. Because Oklahoma had a no-name defense this year, and they quite frankly were a terrible defensive unit. And Kyler Murray, game and game again, led them back for big wins. I know they lost Texas. I think they lost to one other team besides Alabama. But he showed a clutch gene all year. He showed the ability to just not get knocked down. He kept going back and playing better and better. I think that he adapted pretty well to the kind of style of play of his defense. He knew how to read a defense okay, I thought. One thing I will say, though, he definitely had a scheme towards, Lincoln Riley's scheme at Oklahoma is very QB friendly. It's not like he's super, it's a decently pro-style scheme, but I don't think it's I don't know. Baker Mayfield coming out of that was much reported than Kyler Murray is. I see too many Baker to Kyler Murray comparisons here because they're both from Oklahoma. Kyler is a much different style player. Baker ran that offense much more efficiently, if you ask me, and he ran it much more in a pro-style manner. I don't think Kyler can do as many things as Baker could come out of college, in terms of taking snaps under center and all that kind of stuff that he could do at Oklahoma. Baker's just more pro-ready. He's a more finished prospect. Which leads me to my cons. Kyler, his cons, his size, obviously. I've watched a lot of film on him over these last few weeks. Kyler, his offensive line is definitely, I don't want to say it like this, but catered to him. He's got some NFL-sized offensive linemen. Probably going, Enzo, he's got NFL-sized offensive linemen. He can throw over him, not too many batted down balls. He's fine, blah, blah, blah. He's not. His offensive line takes much wider splits when you watch his film. It gives him throwing lanes, and he completes the passes, I'm wrong. But you're not going to get those kind of just open lanes in the NFL. And it also creates running lanes for him, which helps him run the ball. So, I mean, it works in college, but it won't work in the pros. And you see when his offensive lineman does kind of get pushed back in on him a little bit, he's got to, always, fade away on his throws. And that's what causes inaccurate, some mild hiccups sometimes in terms of interceptions or missed throws. It's not going to be perfect. Another thing I have for his cons is his running tendencies. He kind of reminds me of Johnny Manziel when you watch this film, and I know you haven't watched Johnny Manziel film. I actually have. I watched a little bit of his film when he was trying to make an NFL comeback from his college film. I was like, what made this guy so special? He had a decent arm, Manziel did, and he was a very good athlete. So you look at what Manziel did in college in terms of first read wasn't open, pump and run. That's exactly what Kyler Murray does, I feel like. You Oklahoma fans can disagree with me. Feel free to. I love Kyler Murray. I really do. I think he's a good enough player to go to the pros, but he's going to have to fix some things. I'm just trying to point out what he's going to have to fix. I think he's going to have to fix that for sure. He has to sit in the pocket really and just take his progressions and let it go. He's done that, but he also likes to, whenever the going gets tough, he likes just to tuck it and run. And it works in college, but with his frame especially, in the pros it's not going to work. I think he's 5'9", 5'8", 180 something maybe. And that's sad. He does not have the frame like a guy like Lamar Jackson has. Lamar Jackson's not a big frame or anything, but at least Lamar Jackson's bigger and he can take some hits. He's not have a frame of a running quarterback, if you ask me. RG3 has the same kind of problem, if you ask me. A little bit too small to take some hits in the NFL. Ended up busting up his knee. I really think he's the same kind of thing as Kyler Murray. He runs too much. I think he needs to primarily focus on being a pocket passer. He's a good enough pocket passer. He's got good enough mechanics. The height really does kill him, though. If you're an NFL team and you're looking to take a risk on this guy, and you take him in the first round, you have to know that if he doesn't like your situation, he's going to go to MLB as well. So that's another thing that's kind of a con on him. Which one is he going to commit to, MLB or NFL? You're not sure. I know that's going to be a question asked a lot during the Combine week, and that's probably going to have he's going to be a little bit lower on people's ratings. I'm going to have some top 5 each position group coming out soon. First one will be quarterbacks, and it'll be running backs and receivers. I'll move into the defensive side of the ball as well, offensive linemen, obviously. But that's just a whole issue that's coming soon. And Kyler Murray is my number 3 quarterback behind, I'm going to spoiler here, Dwayne Haskins and Daniel Jones. I have watched some Daniel Jones film. I watched a lot of Dwayne Haskins film. So I think Kyler Murray is behind those two for sure. And he could even be behind Drew Lock, depending on how Drew Lock plays in the Senior Bowl today. Or Jared Stidham even too. So we're going to go back to the cons now. Decision making is another one I had for him. You see him kind of just wing it up in double coverage, and he has guys like CeeDee Lamb and Hollywood Brown, and they can make those kind of grabs, especially CeeDee Lamb. But dude, you're not gonna in the NFL. You're gonna have those same kind of receiving talent. He's got an NFL team basically around him in the offense side of the ball. 2 NFL caliber receivers, one for this year, one for next year. You're gonna have an NFL like offensive line, and he has a pretty good setup in Oklahoma. And when he gets to the NFL though, it's gonna be way different. You're not gonna be able to, like I said before, create those throwing lanes to the offensive lineman splits. It's just not gonna be able to happen. It's not realistic. He's gonna have to learn how to and you can't. One thing I will say too. You can't implement sprint outs from every time too. Like you see a lot of sprint outs for him so you can see over his offensive line. You can't implement just special sprint outs just for Kyler Murray to go out there and throw the ball because it's not going to work. Like I said, you have edge players in the NFL that are going to block shed and go get him. You know, it's not going to work in the NFL. So you got to figure out a way as an NFL coach to scheme around him if you really want to commit to him as your long-term starter, and you've really got to figure out a way to utilize his talents right. He's an excellent athlete, pretty good thrower. I think he's a decent quarterback. But we're getting to our last thing in our cons list is limited playing experience. You saw he really didn't start at A&M. At least I don't think he did. And he only started 1 year at Oklahoma. Granted, that 1 year resulted in a lot of touchdowns thrown and a decent amount of picks, but he played pretty solid for sure. He played definitely to the best of his ability, playing Big 12 defenses, may I remind you. Everyone's like, oh, they're like how many touchdowns did he throw for? I'll have to Google it right now. This is actually bothering me. Kyler Murray stats. Alright. ESPN. Alright, so Kyler Murray threw for... Okay, he only threw 7 picks. 4,300 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, 7 picks. That's not bad, think about it. But one thing I will say when you watch his film, there is a lot of dropped interceptions. And that brings to the next point, the Big 12 defenses. He's playing against teams like... playing against teams like Kansas, playing against teams like, what was that Big 12 team I can think of? And you play against teams like West Virginia, who wasn't bad this year, but you play against a lot of just defenses. Probably the best defense played in the Big 12 is probably Texas, and I don't want to say he struggled against them, but he lost a shootout to them. So, I don't know. It's kind of hard to dictate what he's going to do in the NFL, because if you can get the right coach with him, I think he could be a good NFL player. But it's just a matter of, you can't really teach hype to him. And I think I argued this in my podcast, I think the smarter decision was to go to the MLB, but I think the more interesting route for him to take and the more fun route for him to take would be football. Because there's nothing like being a starting quarterback on Sundays. I think he knows that. I think that's why he chose football over baseball. But baseball, you're about guaranteed a lot more money than you are in football. So, there's 2 sides to every single story. But here, we're going to get into the last part of this video, which will be my pro comparison to him, projected round for me, like if I'm grading him out, because I'm trying to get into more scouting materials, because that's what I've always wanted to do. I want to be an NFL scout when I get older, so I'm trying to start really working in these scouting videos for you guys. I'm gonna project what round I think he's talent wise. I'll now project what round I think he'll actually go in. So that'll be the last 3 things we're talking about today. So pro comparison, like I said, I think you guys caught it already. Everyone's comparing Russell Wilson. I say no. Russell Wilson was a lot better passer in college. He was bigger. 5'11" is way different than 5'9", 5'8". Better frame on him too. Russell Wilson is I don't want to say this, but he's thicker. He's not like fat, obviously. He's an NFL quarterback. He's very mobile. He's a very good quarterback. But he's thicker. He can take hits. He has the body and the frame to take hits. Kyler Murray does not have that frame yet. Of course, if he gets in the weight room, he'll beef himself up a little bit. But you got to be careful with that too, because you don't want to mess up your throwing motion. But let me get back into that. Johnny Manziel is my closest NFL comparison to him, and you all saw that played out, so that kind of sucks. But Manziel is my pro comparison to him. I compare him to Manziel only because of running tendencies, their size, a little bit undersized, and I think Johnny Manziel with a better arm. That's what I think he is. Like I said, don't get me wrong, I like Kyler Murray a lot, and it sucks I have to kind of point out these cons and pick him apart kind of here, and it sounds nitpicky. I'm just trying to be honest with you guys so you guys can really get what I feel about him, and in terms of if you want your favorite team to draft him. The next thing I have to say is what round I think you'll go in talent-wise. Talent-wise, I think honestly talent-wise, if he was 5'11 or 6 foot, he'd be a first-round pick. I think because of his size, that issue, and also the issue of baseball versus football is still butting heads like that, because he has not officially signed with the NFL yet, so we can still go back to baseball. I think that he's a third-round prospect. I really do. In terms of size and also the other budding thing with baseball, I mean, it's going to have to be I'm going to have to go third rounder for him. But in terms of talent, I think he's a third-round pick. Add some size, something he's closer to a first round, maybe a early second round, late first-round pick. In my mock draft, I haven't projected going to the Patriots because if anyone who could turn him into a star, it's Bill Belichick. Let's be completely honest here. And then, like I said, I think he will go in the first round this year. One team or another looking for a successor to their quarterback or looking for a developmental starter is going to pick Kyler Murray in the first round because of the name value alone. I think it presents a lot. No one thought Baker was going to go number 1 overall last year. He did because he's Baker Mayfield. But Kyler Murray is not as talented as Baker Mayfield was coming into the draft last year. I think Kyler will be a first-round pick. I think mid to late. I don't think you'll take him within the top 15 picks. I mean, unless it's the Dolphins, I don't think they should take him because he really doesn't fit their scheme. But yeah, that's my 2 cents about Kyler Murray. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Menzel408. Do a lot of gaming on this channel, a lot of Madden, some NCAA content on the way, and it might already be out for all I know. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one, and peace.